Steely grey waves, the size of ship masts, towered and crashed across the ocean's surface. Winds screeched, whipping icy spray into the whale's tiny eyes. It was best to go back down, deep, deep, where the storm was no more than a shivering of seaweed. But still the whale remained, her massive bulk pushed and bullied by the sea. It was just like this when she met the man, and she wanted to remember him. Whatever it wasn't krill. The whale tried to cough it up, retching and choking, but the prickly object wouldn't budge. No good. It must be swallowed. She prepared her mighty throat muscles for action. She stopped. There it was again. It could be a fish or a creature from the seabed. This thing was an air breather. A turtle, perhaps? It felt about the right weight. She'd never swallowed a turtle before and wondered if the shell would upset her. Not a turtle, no. Whatever could it be? And then it spoke.
So this is it.
A man. How had she swallowed a man? The storm had been so fierce on the surface that she'd flipped her great tail and swum deep. A man shouldn't be down here. The four chambers of her enormous heart hammered inside her. She'd always stayed clear of men, their nasty nets and stinging harpoons. From an early age her mother had warned her of their menace, and now there was one stuck inside her.
My final day spent here, inside a fish. Drowning would have been such a quick finish, but no. No one will ever know. My body will never be found. Well, I deserve it. It's my own fault.
His voice boomed inside the massive chamber of the whale's mouth and left her feeling slightly queasy.
Did I really think that after being given such clear and important instructions that somehow, from up in heaven, he couldn't see me running off in the opposite direction? Well, a stinking fish dinner is about right, I reckon.
The whining might have continued for hours, but the whale had had enough. She resented being called a fish and found the man's comments on her smell insulting. A menace or not, she would have to speak to him. Please stop crying. There's enough salt in my system without your tears. She felt the man shift, sharply digging against her throat.
Who are you?
The man gasped.
I can't see you. Is it you, God?
She felt him tumble as her body rippled in a belly laugh. You've clung to God's tonsils before, have you? No, you silly man. You're inside a whale, and it's to a whale that you're speaking. She waited for a reply, but none came. Perhaps she'd accidentally swallowed him. But then she felt a prickle at the back of her gullet.
I'm talking to a whale?
His voice had changed. The wine had gone. She felt the tiny dabbing of his feet as he padded away from the wall of her mouth onto the back of her tongue. That's better, she said. Not so itchy. Stay there. She could let him out now, spit him back into the sea. But she checked herself. Can you swim? He was finding it rather difficult. I'll take you back up. It's too deep down here. You need to inhale more than I do. She lifted her immense head and flicked her tail towards the surface.
No!
The man's shout thundered through her body.
You can't save me. I'm not meant to live. This is what I deserve.
The whinging had returned and it annoyed the whale. Oh, stop snivelling. Your wailing is giving me stomachache.
But you don't understand.
I understand, she butted in, that you've done something wrong, that you've been caught out, and now you're feeling guilty. Silence. The whale continued her unhurried climb, her beautiful head finally breaking the surface. 2 colossal fountains of watery breath exploded from her blowholes. The sea was calm, the storm finished, and the whale felt the warm sun on her back.
You're right.
His voice was now a whisper inside her.
What should I do?
The skin around her eyes crinkled. She wanted to smile, but she couldn't risk the sea washing him out. How these men complicate everything, she thought. Saying sorry usually does it.
But what if he won't forgive me? What if he won't even listen?
You're here, aren't you? Was it a coincidence that I swam past? You didn't carry on to the bottom of the sea and drown there. The man walked to the end of her tongue and leant on the giant baleen plates that filtered the food from the sea. She could almost feel him thinking.
Thank you.
That was all he said. They were nearly there. That crack of land she'd spotted on surfacing. A few more body lengths and she could spit him out. Slowly, the whale opened her jaws and the man plunged into the sea. He splashed and pulled at the water with spindly limbs, but the whale could see that he would make it. And now, back here in the storm, as the sea bubbled and blasted around her, she wondered about him. Did he manage to say sorry? Such a difficult word. From deeper water she had watched him scramble up the beach. He didn't turn back, didn't look to see if she was still there. Perhaps he'd already forgotten her. Such a difficult word, sorry. However big the reminder.